Yo, yo, my sovereigns, what up? This is Boba Fett, uncensored on the internet, with episode 22, that magical number, Splinterlands 101. Regular co-hosts of the show, of course, joining us once again. Finest gentleman who ever lived, Matt Clark.
Here's Matt Clark. He's one of the finest gentlemen that ever lived.
Thank you, thank you.
And the Chaos Legion Scourge Savant of questing, Geotrix.
Hello, hello.
And very excited today to introduce our guest for the show. Anyone who's active in Splinterlands will know this name. Please welcome Cryptomancer.
Hello, hello. It's good to be here, guys. Thanks for having me on the show, and I'm excited to talk some Splinterlands with you.
Yeah, we're excited too. And just while we were chatting earlier, Matt actually asked the question, which I'm sure a lot of people would be keen to know. Do you play?
Yes, absolutely. I try to play a bit every day, doing my daily quests, and I also participate in tournaments every so often. I don't play as much as I wish because, of course, I'm busy coding the game most of the day. But I do try to play when I can. It's a lot of fun.
And what league do you play in?
Typically, I hover around Gold and Diamond League. You'd be surprised that just because I work on the game doesn't necessarily mean I'm a great player. There are a lot of people a lot better than me, so I find it a real struggle once I get up to Diamond League. And I very rarely actually make champion these days.
Yeah, the last season was the first time I ever filled my bar for Gold 1. And it's funny, it's always been so hard to do, but once you've done it for the first time, like now we've got like 5 days left in the season, I've got this much to go. It's like, it's so hard to do it for the first time. And now I'm sort of getting used to it, I guess. Yeah.
Still plenty of time until the end of the season though, so
yes,
you'll be able to get in lots more battles.
Sometimes that's not a good
frenzied.
thing. I mean, there's plenty of time to get knocked back as well.
I think at the end of this season, it's going to be quite frenzied with people trying to establish the baseline for their chests for next season. So normally I try to get into champion, just sneak into champ 3 just on the last day for the 80 chests. But now it's like, no, I want to. My goal is that I never open a chest lower than diamond, right? So I always want to open just champion chests, but that means that every season I need to get into
champ.
Yeah, I need to get into champ. Yeah, and so that's good, right? That's gonna inspire a lot of people to really push on hard. So, yeah, exciting times. This last season of the old way of doing things, the old rewards. Yeah, and already the some of the rank reward changes, the nixing out the battle rewards for the phantom cards, I think was a great idea. Already a lot of people are saying, oh, my dark energy crystal rewards have tripled now, and it's feels so much more worthwhile playing. So I think that's a great move in that direction. Do you Mancer, do you get like I guess are you part of those economic design discussions, or does Matt say, okay, here's what we've decided and go code it now? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm not so privy to the actual economic designs myself. We have people that analyze data and crunch the numbers and come up with the best ways to set all those things. So typically I let them do their thing and come up with the economy design. And that's also a big part of Yabatmat's job as well, as one of the main product designers. And then they come up with some specs and some numbers, and then I, as a developer, take that and write the actual code to implement their vision. So there's still a lot of creative wiggle room in what I do. I get to decide a lot of aspects sometimes of how the UI behaves and how things actually operate on the back end within the constraints of the overall design that I'm given.
So they're the lucky guy who stumbled on the lamp, and you're the genie who, you know, makes it all happen. They say, okay,
Exactly.
here's what we wish for, rub the lamp, and then you pop out and make it so. I like it.
Do
Yes,
this, Genie.
exactly. That's exactly how it works. So they
That's
say,
a good analogy.
"Cryptomancer, make it so." And I say, yes, sir. Here it comes.
That's good. And I would imagine you're privy to secrets that you can't divulge, but involve the future and very positive things that you're excited about, I'm guessing.
Yep, there's a lot goes on. Of course, as with any company, there are some things that we can't share, future plans and whatnot. But we try to be as transparent as possible. So we have the town halls every week. We try to be really active and engage the community a lot in Discord. So a lot of times, as soon as plans are kind of firmed up enough to share, we will share them. We want to always make sure that people know what's coming down the road in terms of the big items.
Yep. And that vision is one thing, you know, where we're heading, but then you know, you can see your destination, but you can't necessarily see the obstacles that are in the way, the pitfalls, the sudden ravines that open up in front of you that you need to stop and build a bridge across. So it's great to say, here's our direction, and we kind of think it'll take us this long to get there. But I think a lot of people, especially the younger, you know, Geotrix's crowd, yeah, pointing at you, they're like, oh, well, give us a time frame, tell us exactly. And it's like, no, you know, we've got to trust that the right people have the right vision and are heading us in the right direction, and are more invested in, you know, you have more land than me. I don't know if this is the first time I've spoken to somebody on the show who has more land than me. This is actually, this has just occurred to me. This is just let that sink in for a minute. I'm used to being the big guy in the locker room.
Oh, you're still the big guy in the locker room.
Yeah, I know.
So 2 castles, 3 castles.
No, that was a great goal. I was chatting to Michael B last night, he's got the region and he's got some stuff going on, and we're talking about upcoming changes. And I think you know, he's saying what's the purpose of various different things that we're doing, and I said, well, I believe that items and spells will make it difficult for bots, which will make the game appeal more to gamers. And I believe the node licenses, the validator nodes, will make the game more appealing to the crypto crowd, who look for decentralization above everything else. So I said, by the end of the year, these two changes, I think items and spells won't be out by then, but you know, heading in that direction. I think these 2 changes will broaden the scope of who's interested in this game, who looks at it and says, okay, this is worth more. This is worth more investigation. I think there's probably Ethereum whales out there who look at the game and say, oh, it's a bit too centralized. Well, validator nodes will take care of that. And there's gamers who get scared off by bot talk in Discord. If items and spells is, you know, if that second round is well designed and is able to, you know, nix the bots, or this recent change that we've had that will, you know, cut the rewards for botting. If we can, even if we get rid of a lot of the talk, not to say we should be dishonest, but you know, if the percentage of bots or something isn't front and center constantly, then I think we're going to appeal more to the gamers. And so I can see, you know, underlying these big changes, the rationale behind it. Here's our new demographic that we want to chase, and we want to chase these guys, and we want to chase these guys. And I think it's a great, bright future. Very happy.
Yeah, one of the things I like the most about Splinterlands is that there's something for everyone. It appeals to a wide variety of people. I mean, you have your casual gamers that maybe just want to play and have a little bit of fun, and they can do that and also earn a bit on the side, which is great. And then you have your hardcore crypto enthusiasts who can really dive down the rabbit hole and get into the nuts and bolts of things with the SPS validators, and that's also great. There's just so many layers upon layers upon layers. There's the markets for people who like to trade and manipulate numbers and try to min-max things. So it caters to all sorts of different styles.
Yeah, well, I know of 3 people who aren't interested in gaming and don't really understand crypto, but they've wanted a bit of exposure to crypto, and they've said, you know, Matt, you talk about crypto all the time. How do I push some money into this thing so that I feel like I'm part of it all, and if things go well. And I say to them, look, go to this site, use your credit card, buy 100 packs. And then when you got a bit more money, buy another 100 packs. I said, it'll be, you know, maybe a year, another 6 months, maybe before these packs sell out. But when people want these packs down the track, they're going to have to buy them from you for more than $4. And that's a great way to, because other times in the past, I've talked to people about crypto and said, oh, Bitcoin's good or Steam's good. It's up and down. And then I get the phone calls, you know, when it goes up, they're a genius. And when it goes down, I'm a dickhead for suggesting it. You know, it's like, hang on. Yeah. So PAX is an easy sell, right? Because PAX is that $4 floor is always there. And then if you're just patient and wait long enough, the supply dries up and then the price starts to hockey stick. So seems like a pretty easy sell. And these guys don't know any of the cards. Don't know any of the background. That, you know, I mentioned in a group chat I've got going on that the pre-sale on validator licenses sold out 11 minutes, which is sensational. And kudos to you for you know, designing the, you know, to make sure it all goes well. But they don't know what validator node license, huh? What? But I'm just saying, look, guys, be positive. This is a positive thing for these packs that you bought. It's a good thing. Yeah, so like you say, there's something there for everybody, including people who are not gamers.
Yep, absolutely. So you've got an investor mindset, you've got a player mindset, you've got the crypto mindset, and you've got a little bit of everything all mixed together. And I like how someone new can come in and just get their feet wet. Like you said, buy some packs, just get used to playing the game. You can gradually learn things over time. So you don't have to just immediately jump in the deep end. You can take things slow and gradually acclimatize yourself. And that's a really important aspect, I think, for mainstream adoption. You don't want to hit everyone over the head right away with everything. You want to ease them into it.
And that's what credits do. You know, you can use those credits and purchase them with PayPal. The most probably, you know, everyone knows PayPal. Yeah, so I think that's a really cool way to, yeah, for the normal user to be exposed to all of this, you know. And it really does start there. And then, you know, as they get more involved with the game, they will pick up on these things and then ask the community, hey, how do I do this, or what's this? And that's the gateway drug, you know. That's the gateway.
Yeah. And speaking of gateways, and you've all just crunched to a point here. I mean, we've had episodes where we've been speaking with people who've, you know, into the gaming side. We've had some, you know, some serious gamers in here. We've spoken with Exile, who came in from an investment point of side. But all of these people, whether it's in the investment or whether it's the gaming, the question I'm always interested in is like, were you on the blockchain? Were you in the community when Splinterlands came in and you've naturally adopted it? Or what we're seeing more often now is some people have, their introduction to the blockchain is Splinterlands, like Matt said, with his friends collecting the packs. Where did you come from, Mancer, as a coder? Because we haven't had a coder before to
So I was actually in the finance industry for many years before I got interested in blockchain. I did that for the majority of my professional career, writing code for big banks and whatnot. And then in 2015, I learned about Bitcoin, and I thought, wow, this is amazing. This is going to change the world. And then I learned about Ethereum, and I was like, smart contracts, whew, it just blew my mind. And so I started investing in crypto and learning more and more about it. And eventually that kind of led me to the Steam blockchain in 2017, 2018. And then I found out about Splinterlands just from reading blog posts on Steam. And I was like, oh, this is amazing. I had never heard of play to earn games before. That wasn't really even a catchphrase back then, I think. So I started playing Splinterlands and got active in the Discord. And one thing just kind of led to another. So I was a player of the game long before I actually became a team member. And when Agrod and Yabatmat found out I was a coder and they asked me to join up, and I was like, oh my gosh, this sounds like a dream job. How can I say no? I quit my job at the big banks and I've never looked back.
Yeah, you were in early and you had that you had that vision because you did work for a bank, the financial side of things. And maybe a part of you was like, this model, the crypto model, works a lot better than that model. So I think you already pieced together the puzzle. And I think that allowed you to see how important Bitcoin and then, the Hive, the Steam, and then Splinterlands, and how that all interacted together. And that just made a lot of sense to you. Am I right?
Absolutely. I mean, I could tell you some horror stories about the banking world.
Please.
You'd be surprised.
We wouldn't be surprised. You're in a very
you
enlightened company when it comes to the fiat scam here. Yeah.
So much of banks' back-end systems. I mean, I'm not going to go into any specifics about my former employer or anything, but so much of it is held together with duct tape and code that is decades old. We're talking like stuff that's still written in Fortran and whatnot, and it's scary stuff. I mean, you look at that, when you think about everything that can possibly go wrong with the central finance system all over the world, it's scary stuff. If someone gets a bit of code wrong or does a fat finger mistake, and it's stuff to keep you up at night. And I think
I will send this clip. I'm sorry for cutting you off, but I will send this clip to people who are just all fiat crazy and think crypto is like so insecure and unstable. I'm just gonna give this 15-second version of you saying this to them. That's all.
When you talk about crypto, I mean, there are a lot of moving parts involved, certainly. And if you're using an exchange and a transaction gets stuck or something, it can be a frustrating experience. But the wonderful thing about it is that your transaction can't get lost. I mean, it can't get erased like it could in a central bank system. The blockchain is immutable and the data is there. So when stuff gets stuck, it will always get unstuck eventually. You don't have to worry about data being lost or changed. Or you don't have to worry about your bank account being closed because someone doesn't like the way that you do business. All that stuff goes away when you're dealing with the blockchain world. And that's one of the really wonderful and great things about it. It puts a lot of power back into the hands of the people and takes it away from those central entities.
Awesome.
Yeah. I think like a lot of people woke up and were shocked, in particular with the truckies campaign in Canada with the GoFundMe. And all of a sudden people just government closed their bank accounts, and it was like, what? They can do that?
Yeah, it's like, oh my God. Crazy.
Yeah. So I mean, do you remember, what was that one back in the early days? Something like GoFundMe, but on the blockchain. What was that? That had a good run for success, and it just sort of disappeared.
I remember we had something kind of like that. I think that we used for Splinterlands alongside Kickstarter back in the day.
Yeah.
I don't really remember what it was called though.
Yeah,
that's going to bug me now because I know it. It's in here somewhere.
Yeah.
I'd have to go back and look it up.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're in an age now where, like Matt said previously, people aren't looking for a solution until they know there's a problem. And I think a lot of people now are in that state, they're realizing there is a problem and they're looking for solutions. And when you've got not only the solution, but a massive community, a massive welcoming community behind that, it's a win-win formula.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yep.
And it's only going to get more exciting from here as things go on. I think we're still in the very, very early days of this. It's like the beginning of the internet back in the day. It's hard to predict where things are going to go, but great things are going to happen.
I've used that a few times when people talk about why would you buy land? It doesn't even exist. It's just in this game, it's just land, and why would you have that? And I use the example of saying, well, if I gave you a time machine and gave you the option to go back in time and register sex.com as the URL that you now own, that's yours now, that's your domain, would you do that? Or would you say what you said in 95, Why would you want to own just some string of characters on the internet somewhere, right? But until it's actually happened and all of that opportunity's gone, a lot of people just don't recognize that it's an opportunity. And that's the whole point. You need to recognize the opportunity ahead of you, not once it's in the rearview mirror. Anyone can do that. Anyone can look back and go, oh, I should have registered all these domains. It's too late now, right? You got to recognize that opportunity. And obviously you can be led down the garden path, and you need to be discerning in what you buy. I think it's fascinating, when you said how you came from finance. So that, I guess, part of that led you to recognize the value of Bitcoin, because you recognized that there was a problem, and not just that it's likely to fall apart. The banking infrastructure is always likely to fall apart, but also that it's going to be redundant anyway. It's a tumble down building on an island nobody visits anymore now. And so eventually, I think back to there was a moment when I was talking politics on Facebook in 2012, and some anarchist in this group mentioned Bitcoin. And for whatever reason, I thought, I don't know what this thing is. I'm going to learn about it. And that has set the course of my life since then in so many different ways. And I think, what would my life look like now had I not been in that one particular chat at that one particular time, seen that comment, and then how many comments a day do I not see on Facebook? It's that sliding doors moment. How could things have been, how could things have been different? And I guess what other opportunities I'm missing out on, because Bitcoin to Steam to Hive to Splinterlands, it's been quite the journey.
I feel kind of the same way when I look back on it. I mean, I had heard about Bitcoin a couple times in the news, but didn't really think much about it. Certainly didn't look into it. And then in 2015, I was the moderator for a Minecraft server, and I loved Minecraft, played it all the time. And I was reading through the chat forums for the server, and someone was talking about how they bought some Bitcoin, and they were making some money off of it. And I got to thinking, maybe that's something I should look into too. So now I look back and I think, what if I had not seen that particular message on that particular day, and I never started looking into Bitcoin as a result, how different my life would be today. It's one of those kind of pivotal crux moments, if you will.
Yeah, some of those moments in life, like you look back and you think how scary it is. You've just been looking the other way at the time. My introduction to the whole crypto world started with the blockchain, with vlogging on Steam, and it only came about a friend of mine, another anarchist, but he overstayed visa in Mexico by a couple of years, and one day he just on his way home, and just random immigration police road check, got busted, got deported back to Australia. And he's even from a different state, New South Wales, but I knew him previously from years back when he was living in Melbourne, and he was, had his laptop, he's blogging away on, I'm thinking, like, what is this? He just introduced me to it. And even at that point, I had something like, I'd made 2,000 Steam, I think, just from vlogging, before I even had an account at an exchange. I had no Bitcoin, none of that. Just that gradual sort of lead in. And I think if Kurt had shown me an exchange first and said, this is how you buy Bitcoin, and I saw all those numbers and graphs, and I would have my head would have exploded, never would have gone there. So not only the perfect time, but the perfect introduction. And such a fine thread that, again, so easy to have missed.
Exchanges can be very intimidating for people when you first take a look. I mean, the average person is going to look at that and be like, oh my God, what the hell is going on?
They have no one there to teach them. If you're doing it on your own, I could see why people would be threatened by that and turn away real quick.
Yeah. So it definitely helps to have something nice and friendly, like a social media platform or a game that can kind of ease people into it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think it's funny with technology. I look at something like an exchange and I see graphs and figures, and I know that I don't understand any of it, but I'm reassured that every pixel that I'm seeing has been deliberately put there by a human mind who wants me to understand it. And so I guess I know that I don't know, but I also know that I can know. And I think that tends to inspire me to then investigate and get curious and dig deeper, because there aren't, you know, accidents there. This is a designed space, and you know what you said with banking, you know, and there's a bit of code from the 1970s still there as part of the whole, you know, nobody wants to touch it, or you know, or there's 10 bits of code from the 1970s. There's no code from the 1970s in blockchains because, you know, we've only just invented them in the very recent past. And so there's a level of deliberateness there, I think. And it's the same with Splinterlands. You know, I'll say, oh, I don't know what that is, but I know it does something, right? So you click on it and then you're inspired to investigate because you know it was put there deliberately by somebody who thought it through. So I think if you approach things with that mindset and a bit of curiosity, then you're always going to know that there's something worth learning and that you can learn it. So I think it's about confidence in yourself.
Yeah, I think the systems
sorry, go ahead.
No, dude, like I think sorry, man. I think the systems that have a monopoly aren't the ones to innovate. It's always the ones who have nothing to lose, who are making up, who are just designing these ideas for the bigger guys to later rip from and use for themselves. So innovation never comes from the top.
That's a very good point about how everything is fresh and new in the blockchain industry. Because of that, there's a lot of innovation. There's a lot of things that are still changing. There's a lot of problems still to be solved that people haven't really figured out yet. And one of those problems is presentation. How do you take these very complex subjects and complex mechanisms and distill them down into something that's visually easy to understand and easy to use on a computer screen, figuring out the UI aspects? That's a very difficult thing to do, and we're still seeing a lot of evolution in approaches that are taken there. That's why I have tremendous respect for Nate, our creative director, and his creative team within Splinterlands, because we're pushing the envelope with Splinterlands, doing things that have not necessarily been done before, and it comes down to Nate's creative team to figure out what all that is going to look like and how people are going to interact with it. Versus things like the big banks where stuff has been solid and kind of frozen in place for a long time. And I think things change much slower and there's much less innovation. So to me, that makes the blockchain, the play to earn gaming space, a very exciting place to be, to see the rapid pace of all this innovation.
Yeah, and
so what direction would you like to see not just the crypto world itself go, but I think the game specifically? Is there something that you would like to see, a direction that you'd like to see us go? Would you like to see, mini games that we're talking about with Warner Brothers, making other games, or would you like to see a focus entirely on land for a while? I wouldn't blame you, with all our castles. What direction would you personally like to see the game going? Obviously not speaking on behalf of the company officially, but just as a player, what general direction would you like to see?
Personally, I'd like to see Splinterlands go in kind of an empire building direction with the land, as you mentioned. It would be great to see that slowly being fleshed out over time. I'm a big fan of the Civilization series. So I'd like to see aspects of that kind of empire building brought in. And I'd also really like to see PvE, player versus environment. So I'd like to see things like you go on quests in different locations on your land, and maybe there are dungeons that you can enter and you fight a bunch of monsters and earn special rewards. And of course, that also ties into the whole idea of boss fights, which is something we've been wanting to do for a long time. But unfortunately, that keeps getting pushed back in favor of these other big items. But I really want us to get to that someday and introduce a lot more of these types of things where you interact with your land and you interact with the world of Splinterlands. So that would expand the base game a lot beyond just the basic card battling aspect of it.
I think you mentioned then Civilization. I can't not touch on that as a parallel analogy, like Civ 2. I think it came on two floppy disks, and the animations were just like little square tokens. It was pretty much just like a board game, moving tokens on a board to where it is today. And when I first started playing Civ 2, I couldn't have imagined the graphic availability of Civ 5, for example. And we're already seeing that. I mean, you look at the time difference from Civ 2 to Civ 5, and you look at what's been happening in Splinterlands, the same development in such a small amount. And an example of that, I like just some of the recent changes where now, because of the reward cards, ghost card sort of structure in playing, you can now see when you're selecting your team which cards are actually starter cards. And I'm surprised some of the cards I've been using all the time, even though they're only level 1. What's the Griffin with reach in life?
Tower? Griffith?
Anyway, I didn't realize. Like, I thought, oh my god, I don't actually have it. It's all this time I've been using a starter card because it's still. I mean, I only play at gold, but at level 1, it's still a good reach card on the life. And it's like, damn, I need to buy that card. So I wonder how many other people have been in that situation. You just get used to using a particular card. I haven't realized because it didn't highlight previously that it was just a starter card.
Yeah.
Are you thinking of the Luminous Eagle?
Yes. Yeah.
Sorry, Mancer, go on.
I was saying, yeah, that's a great change that I particularly like as well. And it's really nice that we have the bandwidth to do lots of little quality of life improvements here and there. So it's not just the big projects that we're focusing on. We also want to focus on the little day-to-day things like that are really going to make people's lives easier and hopefully enhance their enjoyment of the game. That's
I think the responsiveness. I think your responsiveness too. You know, I the other day in Discord, I said it'd be great if we had a reject all button for invitations to the guild, and 10 seconds later, there it is, and here you go, mate.
I do try to keep an eye on Discord a lot throughout the day as I work. And I always keep my status invisible to prevent people from constantly DMing me all the time. But chances are pretty good that at any given time of the day, I'm kind of lurking around in there. So I try to respond to things when I can like that.
So that's the genie, right? I'm like, oh yeah, I really like this, and you pop out and go, here you go. Actually designed it a month ago, but
it's the moat around the 2 castles.
Yeah.
The grouping
I do love
bridge.
the world building.
The grouping bridge.
I love the world building though. I hear you, and you can see Minecraft, Civilization, and I think a lot of people get into crypto because they love the concept of private property as a foundational concept. So we like games like that where you take ground, where you build a castle, where you build up, and there's a real sense of accomplishment and ownership of it. And I think the first game that really does land well will appeal so heavily to the crypto crowd that it will become the gold standard. And I'm really do think that Splinterlands is heading in that direction, where the guys who love playing Civilization, like us, will then say, okay, I want to do this, but instead of I loved Roller Coaster Tycoon myself, played that to death for a long time, setting the price of the fairy floss stall and candy floss. Yeah, exactly. You're putting in some toilets there because people are throwing up on the path, and I love that game. Like I played that to death. But you'd start it and you'd play it and you'd build up, and then 3 hours later you're done and you've achieved your park goals, and then you move on to the next park. But the idea of a persistent world where I can build a sawmill and that's going to be there, and I might need to devote resources to upkeep and maintenance and devote units, summoners and units to it to maximize the wood coming out. But to build it and know that it's there and that it's mine more thoroughly than my own home is mine. If I stop paying the council rates, they'll kick me out, right? I'm a tenant here. I own this house that you see behind you, but I don't own it because it's in Australia, right? I own my every plot that I own more thoroughly than the actual physical house that I own, because it's that much harder to take off me. So I think that mindset combined with that wanting to grow and choose your own direction as well. I want to focus on this, so it gives you ownership of the experience. I can see that just being like just so magnetic to people of our mindset who really want to dig in deep and build something that's on the chain, but actually building something that's, you know, it's a sawmill. So yeah, very enthused.
And even in that RL reality, you don't even own the resources under your land.
Yeah.
If suddenly there's some resources discovered under your house is gone. You don't own it anymore. Then come the mining companies and dig up your resources.
I think that definitely applies to me as well. I mean, so I live in Japan, and here I've got a house and I've got a piece of land, but I mean, I pay a mortgage every month to the bank and I pay land tax to the government, and that really rubs me the wrong way. I mean, why should I pay someone else for the privilege of owning my land? So I'm always aware of how easily it could all be taken away. Just as an example, when I moved into my house, one condition of moving here and buying this piece of land is that the government wanted to expand the road that goes by outside my driveway. And in order to do that, they had to borrow a bit of land to make the road bigger. So they were like, okay, we know your land extends out to this point, but would you kindly let us borrow the first couple square meters of it so that we can build our road? It was like, well, okay, I don't really have a choice, do I? So you can go ahead, you can build your road. I will kindly lend my land to you.
If only we could chip away, like take away government at the same rate, you know. It's just like, well, you know, look, we've elected you in, but we don't want you to have this power. We don't want you to have that power. We'll just you know, it's a one-way street.
You've sort of overextended your reach. We don't like that.
Yeah. So one of the things I really like about the blockchain is, I mean, if I've got a plot on the blockchain, it's my plot. Nobody can take it away from me. There's no government to suddenly change the rules and say, oh, well, we're going to do this instead.
Yeah, and I think that there does need to be governance, right? There needs to be some sort of form of governance, but I think the joy of Splinterlands and the DAO is that the governance will be the community. We will be the government, not some other guys out there. And that's a big part of their talking is, oh, it's a democracy, so you're the government. It's like, no, that's not. I'm not doing any of this stuff. Had a chat with a friend, and I said, look, if I stop paying my gas bill, they stop sending gas to my house. If I stop paying my electricity bill, they stop sending electricity to my house. If I stop paying my council rates, they don't stop emptying the bins. They send people around to take me out and then auction my house. It's a very different relationship to a service provider. You know, so that's politics, right? We could be here all day.
And in a true democracy, the best ideas prevail, right?
Yep,
That's
governance
what it's really
is certainly
about.
important. Yeah, I won't argue against that. You do need some form of governance, but it needs to be by people who have a vested interest in what they're governing, and are actually close to the matter and can make good decisions on it. And that's why having the community, which owns lots of assets and cares deeply about the success of the game, doing the governance is a good thing.
Because most of the lawmakers are out of touch with the general people, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, all right, take the president of the United States. I mean, how can you possibly have one single person that knows what the best decision is for all the various parts of a huge sprawling country like that? You can't. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Agreed.
I think too, like where you touched on, like, you know, democracy or demonocracy, as Jeff refers to it. It's, you know, mob rule, but when the mob is brainwashed to a false agenda, and you can control the information en masse that these people are receiving, then, you know, what's that even? It's not even that. It's not democracy.
Oh yeah. Yeah, don't even get me started on the state of America during the Trump years. I don't think we should go there, but suffice it to say, I have been embarrassed to be an American at multiple points.
We've actually
you go from serving the public to weaponizing the public.
It's a sad situation in a lot of the world today. But with Splinterlands, hopefully we can make it better and
Agreed.
make a lot of people's lives happier.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, we've just gone through another selection here in Australia on the weekend previously gone, and it just the care factor because it doesn't matter who gets in. As I say, no, that doesn't matter who gets in. The government still gets in. We changed the red tie for a blue tie, but that nothing like that South Park episode. Change. It's like they all take their orders from the same people. I like the expression like we got left and right. Left and right, just two testicles of the same dick that wants to fuck you, and that's government.
What are the words you have, sir?
Yeah. So
welcome to Australia, by the way.
So that degraded quickly. Matt, you want to pick up from that?
No. I'm thinking if we avoid politics from now, I'd like to see a Mancer Geotrix battle. Could we do that? Because
Sure.
I really enjoyed. Yeah, I've enjoyed previous challenges sent. So you'll get up for that, Geo? Did you want to share screens and send an invite, and we'll see what he's
all right.
See what he's made of.
A bit of a tradition that we have on the show here, Mancer, is we do a battle, and then we actually like break it down. Like we pause at the rumble screen of the rule set. We all make our predictions, and then we run the battle through, and we see how it went. It's so if you're up for that would be pretty awesome.
Absolutely.
I just sent a challenge.
All right.
He's got the bloodlust in his eyes
I
there.
see a challenge there. Okay. I'm going to view the challenge.
It's all in a friendly manner.
We got diamond, max level cards, all cards. Okay.
You can choose whatever you please.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good, like it emphasizes that that community aspect of the game too. It's very easy when you're just doing your daily quest or whatever, and you just got this little icon on the screen and you're just battling away. The whole theme of this episode, behind the avatar, is to remind you there's a person there with an actual person who has a life and does stuff. As a spectator on the battles, I just love watching the faces of people as they're picking their teams. Yeah. Matt's just poker face, like.
So you guys tell us about the mana cap, the rule cap, mana set and rule cap, other way around.
All right, so we got 36 mana, and the rule set
Keep
is
your distance.
keep your distance.
Monsters
with melee attack may not be used in battles. So
yes.
I'm gonna go with some of my tried and true options here, and let's see what I want to do.
Gets real quiet, doesn't it, Bob?
Yeah, I love that they're both smiling though. They're both smiling. They're both confident that they've got this. This is good.
Oh no, I don't think I got it. It's just all a poker face.
It's good for newcomers to actually here are what we're talking about, the rationale. Here's why I picked this. Here's the direction I thought you were going with this, and here's what I think is going to happen. It's good to just really focus down onto one battle and pull it apart and see what you learn.
Well, this is as good as it's going to get.
Right,
I will share screen. I will share screen in a minute.
If you let us know when you've picked your team, so that Geo can't peek. Your line up there.
Okay.
Oh.
All right, we're ready to rumble.
Right.
Look at the smug smile. Mancer thinks he's going to win. That's a smug smile. I love it.
All right,
Okay, hold on. I have to get to the. Okay, I will share screen now.
All right.
This is interesting. Share screen. All right. 136, is it?
So we're both going with the Death Splinter.
A little bigger there, Gio.
Yes.
Yeah.
And just the other day, someone in Mav's chat was bashing on Waka. So I thought I'd trot out my boy Waka here and see if I can spray some poison around. See how
I've
it's
never
going.
seen him. I've never seen him being used.
He's one of my go-tos. I use him all the time with Death Splinter. I love him.
I see you've used Staples, Head, and Blight. Awesome. And now you all got poison. So
that gem meteor is going to be a poison sprinkler, just spraying it all across his back row. It's magnificent.
it is.
I love it.
I really think you do have this. But we'll see.
I tried to spread it out a bit, so we got some opportunity there. We got some scatter shot. We got some snipe. So I'm trying to spread the poison far and wide here as much as I can.
Spread the love.
Indeed.
I might be a bit of a slow learner, but only recently sort of worked out like with a blast roll set, better to go to have an opportunity or a snipe, because even with sneak, you know, you're going to get the last card and the card next to it, but with opportunity in the snipe, you got a chance of hitting 3 cards with the blast.
Absolutely.
And poison.
Exactly.
Poison works. Yeah.
Good tactic for the blast. I agree.
Yeah.
I'd like to see poison as one of the focuses. You know, the daily focus. So, you know, the more poison damage you've done in total, the more you jack up your R shares. I could see that being, especially if you get in one of those loops where you're poisoning a self healer and you go to fatigue, and you realize you've done 300 poison damage in the one match. That'd be good fun.
Gio,
I would
I'm
love
wondering.
to expand the daily focuses like that, have all sorts of creative new options and stuff as we go along. Yeah.
Yeah, well, Yabba said in the last meetup, in the last town hall, that he wanted to add another 10 or 20 focuses in time. So yeah, I'd love to see poison as one of them. But let's have a think here. So I reckon I'm going to give it to Mancer because I think the Lord Hedinajar Arianthus Agapanthus is going to reflect a lot of that magic damage back.
Yeah.
And I would like to see a bit more in the way of healing, I guess, on Mancer's team. He's not really going too hard at the front tank. So he's, you know, if you're poison, you need to make sure that you've got some staying power there. It really depends on where that scatter shot's hitting and how the RNG lands on the poison. But I think Mancer will take it out. There's just too much potential for too much poison damage, combined with Magic Reflect taking out those middle support cards. Yeah, I'm going to go with Mancer.
I think it's going to be a real close battle. I mean, Geotrix has some pretty heavy hitters on there. Although Lord A will be able to reflect some of that magic, that is a lot of magic to absorb. And then,
and you got tank heal
opportunity in the wings.
You have tank heal.
Yeah, I'm surprised, Gio, that you've gone with your Scavo shield repair when there's no melee in.
Because of Jin Marat has void armor. I was hoping if he didn't use like an opportunity that it would last, but and he's got Magic Necrosis with Snipe, which is automatically taking out Scavo. So
yeah. Read and weep.
Yeah. So yeah, look, straight up, I think you have this, and I'm scared of Blight. He's gonna he's gonna outlast everything, and he's gonna be, if it ever gets to that, he's gonna be the last man standing, and we'll win.
Blight is another one of my favorite cards. I play him pretty much every opportunity that I can get. I mean, what's not to like about him? I mean, he sits in the back there. He's pretty much
beautiful,
untouchable until everyone else is dead. And he's got such wonderful debuffs there. I mean, you can't go wrong with Blight.
And I love the lore behind him. I just started reading. It's cool how he's like the main arch nemesis. You know, he's the nemesis of the story.
He is one wicked dude, that's for sure.
He is maniacal. All right.
All right. Just remember which button to click on, Gio.
You
Let's
got
see
predictions,
how it
Bob?
plays out.
Yeah, I'm just looking at like there's some serious like Uber cards in Mance's lineup there, and even with the -1 health is compensating not only with scavenge but got the speed advantage as well. So and also if it boils down to like a scavenge match, Riftwing can't do anything once like he's if he survives. But yeah, I'm just think that the Scavo is a really bad choice. Like especially like armor repair. Okay, it's got slow, but yeah, I can't see it, Geo. Sorry, I'm giving this one to Mancer.
That's absolutely fine. We will
Yeah.
play. We
All
will
right.
play. Is the sizing good?
Yes, sizing's good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay,
looks
cool.
good to me.
3, 2, 1. Let's do it. Okay, here's your speed.
Oh, I didn't even notice Swift on that. Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
that was a big opening hit.
that was. We've yet to see. Oh, first one poisoned is Mancer. There's the reflect.
And my counter strike. That tank is a beefy card. That's going to be a hard one.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, that hurt.
Oh no!
I stun there.
The
Stun.
Stun, yeah.
No, I relied on that.
Boom. All right, now the
At
tank.
least you haven't got knockout behind it. It's like
I need to slice through the remaining cards now. Ooh. This is gonna be a close one. It's a nail biter.
Yeah. I think
No,
Dr.
you
Blight
got
might
it.
be the.
I'm out.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah, you
tide
can't
is
attack from
turning
here.
in my favor.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Now he poisons. Now you don't need him to. Now he
Oh,
poisons.
yeah.
Don't you love that?
yeah. So
And
like
the
I said,
Riftwing stands alone.
Riftwing,
Yeah.
but he can't do anything.
Yes.
But he's
Oh,
helpless before my eyes.
Oh, he didn't even.
You know what?
Jeez.
You're still cool. Still cool. Still cool nonetheless.
Yeah. My boy Waka.
Congrats.
See, Waka rules, man. He is. I love Waka.
I didn't
What would you have
realize.
done differently?
Actually, man, so just a quick one in there. I didn't realize you were part of the Roaring Twenties.
Same.
Yeah.
Didn't know.
Yeah, Roaring Twenties is an awesome guild. It's been a
It makes
pleasure being a
sense.
part of it.
It makes sense how Matt got Cryptomancer on, right?
Yeah, I just had to flex. I had to flex my weight. I'd make some threats. Come on, you like being in our guild. Really, throw some weight
Matt's
around.
an awesome guild leader. He does a really good job of running the guild. And
Oh,
I
thanks,
like our model. I mean, casual players, serious investors, or was it the other way around? It was something like that.
Yeah, no, it is. I wanted a place where you could be somebody like Exile, right? He's not that much into playing, but he wants to park some cash in this game and have fun with investing from the investing side, but also get exposure to guild brawls, gladiators, and the like. So yeah, I'll get a voice in my ear sometimes saying, "Oh, you should lean on people more to get involved in phrase or do their daily battles more constantly, so we get the scrolls up." And it's like, if you want to go into a hyper competitive guild, by all means, just sell your seat in the 20s and go. We want to keep it kind of fun. It's about the fun. So, yeah. So things like casual players, serious investors, and I think we've attracted a lot of that. And I really like the way we're positioned. And did great in that last tier 3 brawl. 2,300 merits is fantastic. If we could pencil in a gladiator pack for every single brawl like that, I am a happy camper.
Exactly.
Because those gladiators.
Tier 3 brawls so far. It's worked out well for us.
Yeah. And I don't mind getting beaten. If I'm going to get 1,800 merits for coming last in tier 3, I'm okay, right? Like that's it. That I don't mind getting beaten because it makes me a better player, right?
Mm-hmm.
So why would you not get a whole lot of free lessons and then a whole lot of merits? And I love opening gladiators. I'm right into it. I did have a battle I wanted to share.
Yes.
Bob, did you want to? Can you pull that out of chat and
I can.
throw that up there? It's a guild brawl, and when you win in tier 3, you get really excited. So I guess I've given the ending away there that I did win. Sometimes I like to.
Well,
trick 'em,
if you're sharing that, we know you've won. So, you know.
Yeah, come on now. Come on. I think I was the first one to share a battle where I'd actually lost.
Only show the highlights, right? Don't
Yeah,
worry about
exactly.
all those defeats. Just
Yeah,
brush
no.
those under the rug.
Nobody's paying much attention to that. But it didn't take, like, we were 5th in the last brawl, and we didn't win that many really. So you don't need to even do particularly well to get that little bit higher. So I'm a big fan of tier 3 brawls. I know there was talk in the brawls chat. Byzantine Kitty was Byzantinus was talking about, you know, this guild's going to do this and they're going to drop down to tier 2, and I'm like, no, we're going to stay in tier 3. We're not going to jump around all over the place. Yeah, it's not meh, you know.
Yeah,
Why not?
I agree
Just
with
get
that
settled.
philosophy, sure. Yeah, I think a lot of the guilds, some of the top guilds take the brawls very, very seriously. And I think, I mean, it's okay for each guild to have their own style and approach. But personally, I would find an approach like that would maybe become a little tedious for me and start to take some of the fun out of the game. I mean,
Exactly.
for me, it's more about enjoying the game and having fun, and I don't necessarily care about like maximizing every single crown and merit that we get. I just want to enjoy the process.
Yeah, and look, for some people, that's how they have fun with it, right? So I'm not, not here to judge. It's just not my personal. I'm worried about burnout. You know, I've seen people burn out on this game on crypto before, and they throw themselves at it, and they're night and day, and then bam, they're just gone. They go, I can't do it anymore. I've just got to walk away. And
mental breakdown.
Exactly, it's a marathon, not a sprint. And yes, it is a massive opportunity, but you can wreck yourself by trying to grab on too hard, and you rip off all your fingernails. And it's just be calm and be cool. So this match here, it went exactly how I'd hoped it would go. So my thinking here is, when I've got a gladiator with blast and its opportunity mindset, I'm going to want to use my legendary magic blast gladiator, right? I mean, however, it was fairly low mana and I didn't want my gladiator to get killed. So I figured, people make this mistake all the time, and I'm not necessarily saying this was a mistake here, but filling your whole slot in a low mana match with lots of useful cards that have low health can feed that bloodlust in an opposing gladiator, especially when it's opportunity, and particularly when they have blast, because the benefits to a gladiator with blast, taking out all those scalps and just building that bloodlust, is incredible and lots of fun when you're on the giving end and not on the receiving end. But what I wanted to do is make sure that she stayed alive. So I put who's that 2-mana guy there? I can't think of his name now. I put him there for his triage so that he could heal her. He could lean back and heal her, knowing that he was unlikely to be a huge target, because in opportunity rule set, people don't generally put in big heavy tanks. So I thought he's probably not going to be a target, but if he can lean back and keep healing her, then that's gonna help me a lot. So did you want to hit play, and we'll just watch it play out? I did win, and it was great fun.
Yeah. Just on a side note there, I've never seen that skin on Nocturna before. I really like it.
It's the alternate.
Yeah.
Yep.
You are level 8 as well, both using rare summoners. So
that backfire was great, because that's his gladiator, and now he's got the lowest health, right? So now his gladiator's out just from that backfire, from that 1-mana chaos agent. The guy's insane, right? So now I don't have to worry about his gladiator.
And if you had him in level 6, you wouldn't have had that.
So I'm getting magic reflect from failed summoner, but every time I kill somebody, my health's going up.
That's it.
And I got my guy at the front there triaging health backwards.
Yeah, that gladiator's on a roll. Look at that.
It's very
That- yeah.
smart.
That Flagulon range, she is nuts. And I pair her with Ruler of the Seas because they're two magic blast. And the two of them together, they just cut through like a hot knife through butter. It's very, very satisfying.
8 magic
So
attack
yeah,
with blast.
look at her stats at the end there. Look at that.
Yeah.
989.
But
Yeah.
how many times did her health go right down and just
Yeah.
purely bloodlust recovery?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
And having that other
And
card
playoff.
there, having that other guy, I'm going to look up his name because it's bothering me that I don't know it, but having him there healing her back made all the difference. Like she could have very easily been taken out with a slightly different arrangement. I mean, that arrangement that he played, this is a tier 3 brawl, right? This is not somebody who's just mucking around and just clicking whatever and this will do. This is somebody who's put a lot of time and effort into that team, and it's a good team. But me having that Kelpinishit, that's the one. Me having that Kelpinishit there, he's helped every time he healed her. He made sure that I'm doing that massive amount of damage every round. So, yeah, big fan of that. I'm very happy with that win. That was one of my 2 wins out of 8 battles. So, yeah, we'll just talk about that. We'll just talk about that one.
Yeah. I do
think
love
that was
it
a
though when you
perfect
take out
example.
their bloodlust first. Like it's
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. That was a really good example of building a team around a gladiator. So
Yes.
you focus on allowing the gladiator to be the main character, and then you have the supporting cards that really contribute to helping out the gladiator and enhancing its ability. And that's a wonderful strategy to use for brawls, coming up with strategies that depend on the gladiators and find ways to emphasize them as the true captains of your team.
Absolutely. It's a very different mindset. In regular ranked play or tournaments, you are playing a team, right? And it's about your team. In these matches, in the phrase, you're effectively, I'll look at the rule set mana cap and I'll pick a gladiator and then build support stuff around him, right? That's or her. Because if you can just find a weakness somewhere, if you can, and this is where I love Captain Katie, magic snipe, as you saw against Geo, you know, when you got that magic snipe, be it Captain Katie or Dwarven Wizard, is fantastic. Magic snipe and stun, so much to like there, because so often that's a vulnerability. People put their tank up the top, and then their first non-melee card is really vulnerable. And so if you can hit them there and get that kill, if you can get that, I'd love to see what the stats are. How many Fraser won by, or how many battles in Fraser won by the first side to get a gladiator kill? Because I think maybe once I've had a gladiator with bloodlust actually die, but generally whoever gets it first is going to just build on that momentum, snowball rolling down the hill. And it's such a cool new way of playing the same game. So big fan.
Yeah.
Yep, when that works out, it works out really well.
The only exception to like building a team, and this actually happened in a brawl of all places, melee only and back to basics. It's just 6 separate games, basically, you know. Yeah. So that can be a killer.
That's a tough one.
So about
that's where you have those
brawls
niche
as well.
cards, though. You want those niche cards. So Red Dragon, Quora will
The ones that have multiple attacks.
hits, yeah.
multiple attacks. Vigilator. Who's that? That elephant guy.
Yeah, the war elephant.
War Chang.
Chang.
Yeah,
Yeah. So it is possible to, and that's always satisfying when you've got when he's got all melee cards and you've got one melee card up the back who's also got magic damage and
all range.
I love doing that.
Yeah.
But when you're new to brawls, like and you get back to basics, it's like, oh, I can't use my bloodlust. I can't use. It's like, but,
Now, is there anything with like the new format that you're working on and can share? Like any just little minor update or something? Just I'm really looking forward to that. I'm not telling you to leak, to spill the pie on the floor, but yeah, just something, because I reckon that's going to be huge. From where we are now, the test phases of just reward changes, I feel like something is on the horizon.
So I've been working on the Modern and Wild project for quite some time. It's actually been in development since the start of the year, like right after Chaos Legion launched.
Okay.
And the code for it was actually finished way back in April. It's a funny story, but we made the decision back then that the new ranked reward system should launch first, because that would have a higher impact to the game. And then Modern and Wild will be the next big thing after ranked rewards. But it turns out that those two projects are very intermeshed. They have a lot of interdependencies, and all the changes for ranked rewards have a big effect, a knock-on effect on Modern and Wild.
Yeah,
so although the Modern and Wild code is finished, now there's a period of time where we have to rewrite large chunks of it to work correctly with ranked rewards.
Right.
So just to give you an example of how it's going to work, we'll have the new Modern format and the Wild format that you can pick when you do ranked battles. And your the type of chests that you get for your daily focus and your season rewards is based on the highest league that you've achieved in the previous season. So for next season, which is the start of ranked rewards, it'll be based on the highest league you achieve this season that's ongoing.
Wait.
And once we have Modern and Wild, then it'll switch to being the highest league that you've achieved between the Modern and Wild formats. So like
Wow.
if you're in Gold 1 in Wild, but you reach Diamond 3 in Modern, then the type of chests you get in the next season are going to be diamond level chests. So you kind of have to make a decision on which format you really want to focus on the most.
Whoa.
And that necessitates a lot of code changes to the Modern and Wild code that's already been written. So that's one of the things that I'm working on now, just making sure that that whole mechanic works the way it's supposed to.
That's something I haven't heard. So just off of that, I'm quite happy, and yeah, thank you. I know.
Yeah,
I know.
right.
Yeah.
There's so much, like now there's so much extra game theory, because you're thinking, okay, I can, wherever I'm strongest, if I want to get those high quality chests, I can go there and swap between. Yeah, wow.
Yeah, and also another wrinkle that people are going to have to think about is the rewards that they can earn in both formats for DEC rewards, because there's going to be 2 DEC reward pools now, one for Wild and one for Modern. So if there's like maybe the majority of new players will have Modern cards, and there aren't so many Wild cards in circulation. So it's possible we'll have a lot of people playing in the Modern format and maybe not as many playing in the Wild format. And that means the DEC rewards in the Wild format could be greater, because there are less people to take a slice of that pie, that rewards pool. So that'll kind of figure into people's calculations, like which format can I play the best in, and which format is going to give me the greatest rewards. So there's going to be a lot of thinking going on there, a lot of strategic and tactical decisions to make.
I like that. It keeps the old crowd happy and out of the way of the new, with the new beginners as well. It's like, I want the old crowd. Just, you can stay on your corner. Leave me here. You can have your higher DC. I don't care. Just don't, just don't cron me. Like, please, like, don't lava cron me.
Or Alric me. That's one of your hate ones, isn't it?
No, that's
going to allow
really
people to be much more competitive in the new format. I mean, people that don't necessarily have all those old cards, I think they're going to be really happy, and they're going to have an easier time, I think, of really standing out and making a name for themselves.
I like that. Like, yeah, incentive for the Wild and the Modern. Like it's cool. It's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm excited.
So many implications. yeah, just saying so many implications to think through of just that minor tidbit of context about how it's going to work, because I did not expect that would be the case. I would just assume that so your chests are decided. You are literally, doesn't matter if you swap backwards and forwards. Your chests are decided at the end of each season. Yeah. That's great. That's cool. There's so much theory there that could, so many ways you could game that. I'm just trying to think with your daily focus. If you get a daily focus and Geo, you've got say you've got lots of beta cards that are Earth, and you're strong in Earth. Your daily focus, you could then say, well, I've got Earth. I'm going to play mostly in Wild format because I've got a lot of the older Earth cards. I'm really strong there. But tomorrow's focus might be Poison, and I'm strong in my newer. Here's me just making up brand new focuses, I'm stronger in here. So you're essentially, you see your daily focus, and then you say, which format am I best in? Am I strongest in for this?
For that.
Then you might, I don't know if there'd be a user interface for the current state of both reward pools. That would be interesting if on site you could see, modern, a little pie chart or something saying, here's of the total deck, this much is in the Wild and this much is in the Modern, so that you could look at that.
A ratio.
Let's go this way. Yeah, and then pick where it's going to be right for you for today's daily quest based on the league that you're in and the cards that you have. So it's more decision making and ownership of the results, which I love. That's really cool. I like that a lot. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, that's a neat idea. Here, we don't show any information on the UI right now about kind of the state of the reward pools. I mean, you can see your energy capture rate, but that's about it, really. So I think it would be fun to show more information like that in the future. Some kind of pie chart visualization or something would be great.
Well, I'm not going to dig any deeper. I'm quite happy with that.
One thing I've really taken from that is I've never rented cards in the game. Like I look at where I'm at CP that I need, and then what I've got left over I rent out. But now I'm thinking like each season and filling the gold bar, just renting one high CP card just to make sure I get the chests determined for the following season is going to be well worth it. And I'm wondering what that might do to high CP rental markets. That's what I'm thinking now. Yeah. And on that, we've just actually reached the 1 minute mark. So we're going to get cut off. So before we get cut off, thank you so much for coming on. Been an absolute blast. And just for the viewers out there, if you have any questions, drop them in the comment box below. We love engagement. If you've got a battle you'd like to share for us to analyze, drop it in the comment section. Because remember, every week, the viewer who writes a comment that generates the most engagement will receive 10% of the post rewards. So thank you for joining us on episode 22. Look forward to seeing you on episode 23. I'm Boba Fett. Peace out.
Bye.